again. It's Brian. I'll keep this short. Just a reminder that you can visit voidsignal.net or patreon.com/voidsignal and sign up for the Void Signal Patreon to support the creation of more ad-free Void Signal. It goes a long way towards helping me do more of this, and in exchange you get hours and hours of content. So yeah, thanks for your consideration. I hope you are well. And festival season is quickly coming up on us. So if you find yourself at Dark Force Fest in New Jersey and you see me, feel free to say hello. I'm always happy to meet people who listen to the show and give me their time. So by all means, say hello. I will also be doing Void Signal Live at Mechanismus Festival in Seattle in June. Please show up, say hello. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Okay, that's it. Take care. Be good. Do nice things. Bye.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. And I hear you too. Ugh,
Excellent.
sorry. Obviously like a super newbie over here, just like
Oh,
freaking figuring it out.
no worries. Thanks for being patient. And,
Yeah, no. Thanks for being patient with me.
I appreciate your persistence because I've had an interview actually that like got all the way to this point, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Hello, I can hear you," and then like he just bailed and was like, "Oh, well, sorry," and then I never heard from him again.
Oh,
I
oh no.
was like, "All right, well, cool, I guess." So yeah, thank you for not just giving up and ghosting me or or whatever.
Oh, oh no. I've worked with computers for so long and I've
Yeah.
had to troubleshoot crap
Hmm.
all the time. I mean, it's like a daily occurrence for me. So I'm kind of like, ugh,
Yeah. And I
you
mean,
know,
plus,
willing to try everything.
yeah, and plus it's like the industrial scene. Like I expect people to be able to like troubleshoot their their own like audio problems and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Um,
what we're all doing anyway, right? So,
yeah, definitely.
well, thank you so much for your time and for making this work. I know
Yeah,
we
I
had to
appreciate you.
push it back a little bit, but um,
All good. Like life's happening. There are holidays. There are all kinds
yeah,
of stuff going on. So
yeah.
totally fine.
Good. Well, again, thank you for your time, and I've had some time to listen to the new record. Oh, we are rolling; it just starts.
Okay. Thank you.
But yeah, sure. Sorry. But so I have been listening to. I've listened to your full discography and everything. But I was
Mhm.
listening to the new record, which is fresh, like just came out, and I mean it's
Yep.
fresh in the other sense too. It is.
Oh, oh,
Um,
thanks.
I have been enjoying it, but working with Klaus must be amazing. I mean,
Well,
could you, I don't know, talk about that a little bit? I'm just curious.
yeah. Actually, he was
Mm,
very easy to work with.
mm,
It was, I mean, people who do music and work with others, sometimes it gets challenging and people have different points of view and it just becomes a hassle. But he was actually very smooth. I had no issue at all and everything just like flowed.
mm.
What I did was I sent him some demos with no expectations and I just figured he would do his magic, which he does.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what happened. And when he returned my demos to me, they were all so great. I mean,
Hmm.
he made my vocals sound even more powerful, and he just has a lot of really great uh, techniques
Yeah.
that just make everything pop that much more, which I really like.
Mm.
Um, but it was very easy to work with him. He
Yeah.
pretty much nailed it. He
Yeah.
nailed it. And there was really nothing to contest. It was
Yeah.
just like, this is great. But one interesting thing about doing the album with him was
Hmm.
the song From Beyond actually was not planned.
Hmm.
That was actually a demo that I had that didn't have any words.
Hmm.
And I figured he would, I just said, go ahead and work with the music and maybe we'll figure it out later. And Scott Crow from Emergency Heartseat, the label that I'm on,
Hmm.
it's suggested it. Why don't you ask Klaus if he wants to do like a little vocal or something?
Hmm.
And so I asked him, and
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, I was thinking the same thing."
Splendid.
Yes. And so I said, "Sure, do whatever I don't like to give people directions. I just let them go.
Yeah.
And I do that because I really want to see what they do. I don't want to influence them in any way.
Right.
But when he returned with the song, it was From Beyond, and had lyrics from front to back, and I just thought, wow,
Yeah.
this is amazing, because I thought he was just going to do a few, vocal like stabs or
Hmm.
yells or something, but he just, I mean, it was incredible. I
Yeah.
love the song.
That is something that I do have to say about like your about the record and about your work with him is that I mean, I've been into the industrial scene for a long time. So I was huge into Leathership, like once upon a time, and like
Hmm.
so to be listening to industrial music that's very modern and fresh with like more modern production kind of aspects to it, and like really
Yep.
like all the knobs are turned up and everything sounds very full and very it was a kind of an interesting experience for me just as a listener to sort of hear like this a fresh take and then like a familiar voice kind of mixed in with that.
I love that you say that, because I really feel that is the
Mm,
true essence of my music. It is, I am highly influenced by all these bands like Depeche
sure.
Mode, The Cure, and
Hmm.
obviously love goth industrial post punk music, and but I also love hip hop music. I love
Hmm.
beats. I love R&B. I mean, I love
Hmm.
everything. And so with all of those uh, influences,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like that's what my brain spits out, is this mishmash of all these
Hmm.
influences, obviously more rooted in the darker genres, or more aggressive, like
Hmm.
industrial type things.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
yeah,
I don't mean
that's,
to interrupt you. My
oh
enthusiasm
no, it's
is
okay.
just getting the better of me. But
Yay,
that
no,
is
it's great.
that is something that I have really been enjoying about your music too.
Oh,
Is
thank
that
you.
blending of genre? That's the thing I like. Of like, who cares what it is? Like, you are not an imitation of these things. You are a translation of them. So
Yes.
you're taking these influences and making them your own. And like, I like seeing that blend of how it comes out. Like, kind of like what you were saying with like not wanting to influence too much the person you're working with. Like, the few times that I've had like theme songs made for the show or art made for the show, it's like, you figure it out. Here's kind of what I want,
Hmm.
but like most of this is going to come out of your brain kind of a thing. So I think there's a lot to
Hmm.
be I think there's tremendous value in that of like hearing how someone else has translated and how they interpret, if that makes sense. But
Uh, it does. It
mm,
does. And that was one thing that I really, uh, I guess my first couple of albums that I made with Charles Godfrey in Austin, Texas.
mm,
He has a studio called Scary American, and he does several. I mean, he's done stuff for Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and he's done so many things. But he had told me, he said, I actually haven't worked on an album quite like yours before.
mm,
And so that was interesting, to work with someone who really wasn't rooted in the goth industrial, or, that already had those predisposed ideas, you know?
yeah,
So that was what was really interesting about working with Charles, was he
mm,
wasn't embedded with those sounds. And so again, that's kind of why some of my albums might sound like, oh, it's influential of this particular
mm,
genre or time period, but the producers kind of take it in a different direction or make it bigger.
yeah,
So, but I really love that.
yeah,
I mean, I love seeing the creativity of people, and so far it hasn't failed me.
yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to work with really amazing artists
Mm.
and producers.
Yeah, that was the thing I was going to comment on is that the list of people that you've worked with has been illustrious. I mean, at least for our scene, whatever that might
Yeah,
mean. But
yeah.
it does seem, and it does seem that it's happened in a relatively short span. Just because this,
Mhm.
the life of your project is, it's pretty young. It feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing it since 2016.
Mhm. Yeah,
So I don't
yeah.
know if that makes it young or what.
I I don't know anymore. I
I don't know
once upon a
anymore.
time I would have been like, oh, it's young, but like, who knows
Yeah.
now? Like,
You
bands.
know, I will tell,
Mm,
yeah, I will tell you though, I did start in
Mhm.
2016, but I didn't put it on album until 2019. So that's probably where it seems like Sine's young, I guess.
Sure, sure.
But I still feel
Mhm.
like a relatively young band, and I'm still learning and making connections, and
Yeah,
just working through it and
yeah.
trying to make some strides.
That's good. And it seems to be working so far. I mean, like,
Oh,
the
thank you.
collaboration with Chris Connolly, and then a
Oh, that was great.
absolutely just, I have to shout this out, like, so that people go and listen to it. The banging ass remix by Meat Beat Manifesto, like, I
Oh,
had
yeah.
I had not heard it. I was like, and somebody, there's a guy on my server, Jason, who is a big fan of yours, who was like, "Oh, you got to listen to
Oh,
this,"
yes.
and it's amazing. But another notch on that belt of, like, making your way, and now working with
Yeah.
Klaus and everything. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yes.
it's great.
I I truly, first of all, I loved that Chris was willing to collaborate with me, and
Mm.
though I'm not sure if you know how that all came about or not.
No. Mm.
So what happened was Pigface was on their tour in 2019.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it was the 2019 tour that Chris was on, and Curse had played. Curse Mackey had played my first CD for Chris and said, "Oh, this is what Rona's doing." And he said, "Oh, I really like it."
Mm.
And so when Chris relayed that message to me that, "Oh, Chris liked your stuff," I was just like, "Okay, well, when I see him, I might ask him to collab." And I saw him in person at the Thalia Hall like finale of that tour.
Mm.
I just kind of casually, because he said, "Oh, he brought it up." He said, "Oh, I really liked your stuff. You first played it on the bus, and it was really good." I said, "Thank you. I really appreciate that. Would you ever want to collab?" And he's like, "Sure." So
Hell
that's
yeah.
pretty much how it all happened. And again, kind of like the From Beyond story,
Yeah.
I had some music that I had already done, but it didn't have any words.
Mm.
And so Curse and I actually worked on the music together, and I told him, I was like, I'm just going to send this to Chris and just see what he does.
Yeah.
Again, absolutely no, I didn't tell him what to do, no coaching.
Yeah.
And this was pre-pandemic.
Mm.
So when he came up with the whole desolate district thing, we had no idea what we were in for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It was just coincidental that his lyrics happened to coincide with future events.
Sure.
But when he again returned the music to me with his vocals, he said, "You can keep it all, keep some of it, use none of it, whatever."
Mm.
And very much like what I did with Klaus, I took his vocals and then I duetted myself in between,
Yeah.
so that it was truly both of us going back and forth. So that was a really fun collaboration. And
Yeah.
then to get Jack Dangers from Meat Beat remix it was just like, oh, so
Yeah.
great.
And it's
Such a
a
dream.
fucking banger of a remix too.
It
Like,
really is.
yeah.
It is. And there have been a couple of times where I've actually played it live,
Mm.
where I played drums to it and sang. But it's really great. And I was just very thankful to have worked with
Mm.
someone of his caliber.
Yeah. For sure. And you're also planning another tour, pretty, I feel like, soonish. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm going on tour with I Speak Machine
Mm.
and Be Still Mouths. And
Excellent.
we're doing this. It's kind of like a mini tour because it's just going to be a few days on the West Coast. It's going to last about a week.
Mm.
So we'll start in LA, go to Sacramento, San Francisco, Portland, Seattle. I think that's it. But really, how that all came about was I Speak Machine had played a show in Portland at the Coffin Club, which is an absolute favorite place of ours.
Mm.
Love that place, and
Yeah.
very welcoming and just an awesome place. So they got to talking and kind of came up with the scheme. And
Yeah.
they said, "Well, let's rope Rona in and get Lynette and make a thing of it."
Mm.
And that's really where the whole the tour name is the Holy Trinity Tour.
Mm.
And it was Yvette from Coffin Club who came up with that, I think,
Mhm.
or Elizabeth from Seattle. I'm not sure which one, but I think it was Yvette. So that's pretty much how it all came about. Was
Elizabeth from
just
Seattle.
yes,
Elizabeth
yes,
Ellingson. Is that her last name?
yes,
Yeah, she
yes,
is wonderful.
and she runs Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
the
that's right.
Yes
Yes.
Entertainment.
Yes, she is great.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
she is great. Her and Yvette are both great. I love
Hmm.
them both, and I think what they're doing is awesome. And I love that they're women in the industry and they kick ass and they
Hell yeah.
treat us well. And that's another important thing was when we booked this tour. Well, if we back up to the tour that I just did with Curse Mackey and I Speak Machine, um, our main goal there, we did a tour from like October to November, which was fantastic. And I just said, I just want to eliminate artists suffering
Hmm.
because when artists go on the road, it's sometimes it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get to eat dinner. Sometimes you're driving, from one city right to the venue to load in. You have no,
Yeah.
it's really tough being out there.
Hmm.
And so really the goal of the tour was just kind of to find great promoters that are wanting to take care of you and make it a great tour rather than like, oh, I'm going to suffer for my art.
Right.
And we were successful in doing that because
Mm.
I believe that everyone we had on that run was really great. All the venues were fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we did with this Holy Trinity tour with I Speak Machine and Bestial Mouse, where we just chose venues that were going to treat us well and welcome us with open arms. So,
Yeah.
but I'm excited about it. It's going to start March 30th is
March 30th.
LA
Okay.
at Bar Sinister.
All right. Excellent. I will probably
Yep.
not be at that one, but I will see you in Sacramento.
Oh,
So
you will? Okay, at
yes.
Harlow's, the Starlit Room.
Yes, I have been to Harlow's once. I've almost been a dozen times because Reno is like not many shows come through Reno because in order to get
Yeah.
to Reno, you got to go over the mountains and the pass is unpredictable weather. It sucks.
Yeah.
But Harlow's is a great venue, and I've seen actors there and
Awesome.
Ash Has Fallen and some other great bands. Crew Lies played there as well.
Oh,
But
cool.
yeah, I would. That's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad I will get to
Yeah.
see this one because I saw a lot of video, a lot of pictures, and I was telling Curse this as well. Of your tour together with he and I Speak Machine, and I was like,
Yeah.
man, this is a thing I feel stupid for missing because all the video, everything coming out from the tour it looked great. It looked like, oh,
Thank
cool,
you.
an industrial tour is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to catch you this time, even though I missed like the cool thing. Um,
I
but but I'm
They're
looking
all
forward to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm,
I'm looking forward to it too. I haven't played Sacramento Sign, so this will actually be my first time
exciting.
doing West Coast stuff. I did Seattle and Portland with Sign and Curse, and that
Mm,
was really great. So, but this will be my first time doing LA, San Francisco, and Sacramento.
gotcha.
So that is exciting to me,
Yeah,
very exciting. So, and especially, with two California girls, can't go wrong.
yeah, exactly.
You got Sarah and you got Lynette. So
Yeah,
it's like they know what's up.
yeah.
But they're also what I really love about the two
Mm,
of them is that not only are they talented, but they're just ultra professionals.
yeah.
They really take care of biz, and I like their strength and their motivation and everything. So I
Mm,
really feel like this is going to be a powerful tour, and all the tours that we do, like the Electric Exorcism tour with Curse and I Speak Machine, we are planning to do some other legs. We just, you know, figuring
yeah,
it out and doing that just takes
yeah.
time.
And like you said,
Um,
it's hard out there. Like it's
it
the
is. There's a
logistics
lot.
and yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. And also, there's a ton of bands who are ready to get out because, the pandemic, the 2 years that we were just kind of on lockdown, I think really kind of, I don't know, offset the timeline a bit. So
Hmm.
everyone's ready to get out there now. And so that also makes it a little hard because you have to find just the right time to actually do it.
Right.
Um, but we definitely are planning some future legs of that. And then with this Holy Trinity tour, we definitely want to do another leg there as
Mm.
well. It's just working with everyone's schedules.
Sure. Sure.
And,
I am really
like
glad.
Bestial.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just saying, like Bestial Mouse has some stuff going on in May.
Mm.
I think she's going to Europe. So that
Yeah.
was kind of why we had to like cut it off for a minute.
Oh, I see.
So she could, yeah, because she was
Mm.
preparing for her Europe trip. So but we will pick it up at some point. Just don't know when.
Yeah, I wanted to just jump in and say that that is a thing that I like about this a lot is that it is a women's tour, like, and like you
Uh-huh.
said, like wanting to work with like female promoters in the scene and everything.
Yeah,
That's fucking important.
fantastic.
That is super important. And I'm really glad that it's a thing that we can have,
Yes.
that exists now. It's a thing that, would have been, I don't know, maybe a little alien like 15 years ago. I feel like it would be. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's a very male-dominated business,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I mean, it was the way the tour came about and it was just kind of like we've all just admired each other and it
Mm,
just felt natural just to go, why don't we all go out together?
yeah.
And it works. And after traveling with Tara when we did the Electric Exorcism tour,
Mm,
I mean, her and Maf are awesome, and that's always a good thing. When
yeah.
you're having tour mates, you want to make sure that everything meshes well. And so I'm excited. I think
Yeah.
it's going to go. I think it's going to be great, and it's a good mix of music.
Hmm.
We. I mean, I'm not sure if you're a fan of I Speak Machine or Bestial
Yes.
Mouths.
To both.
Of both. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. So
They are.
everyone.
Yeah, they are on the list to be asked to be on Void Signal. I just haven't gotten to it yet. It is.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure they would both love that.
I mean,
But
let's
I
not
I
get
truly
crazy.
love it.
Maybe they would, but we'll see.
No way, no way. They like chatting and making new friends,
Okay.
I mean, we all do.
Hmm.
So it's all good, all good.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that tour. Looking forward to it a lot.
Nice. Is there so beyond the tour, it sounds like you still have a road unfolding in front of you, as far as like
Yeah.
your musical career. But I was looking at your website, which I encourage listeners to check out. It's cool. It looks really good. I've mentioned it on the Void Signal Discord server to everybody.
Oh, cool.
Which is I want to double check before I say this, but it is Rona Rougeheart at
Rouge.
Rougeheart. I keep wanting to say Rogue Heart, and
Oh,
it's
I know it looks like Rogue. I
yeah,
when I mean, that's just a common thing.
yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, it's a common thing, but it is RonaRougeheart.com.
Rouge. Right.
And you have links to all the stuff you've done because you've done like
Yes.
directing stuff and making music videos and TV series stuff and a
Yes.
lot of other stuff than just music.
Yeah, I actually haven't updated that site in a bit. Actually, I did a video, or I
Mm,
actually helped edit a video for the Night Crickets, which is a band that David Jay's in,
mm,
and Darwin, and Violet Femmes drummer Victor. Yes,
mhm.
yes. So that's actually pretty cool. It's called the Unreliable Narrator.
Excellent.
So I have
What a
to add
wonderful
that
name.
in. Yes, Unreliable Narrator from the Night Crickets. So
Yeah.
I forgot to put that on my site, but I do want you guys to see that.
Okay.
Yeah, that pretty much just kind of showcases all the art and stuff I've done.
Mhm.
The website Sine.band is just the band site, which I also need to update. I mean, I pretty much do everything.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so like
It looks
updating
like it.
sites is like, you know,
No, I totally get it. I finally like
yeah,
bit the bullet and was like, okay, I'm going to update my own website. And then, and then of course you do it and you're like, this took me no time at all. Why did I put this
yes,
off for so long? This took, an
I
hour of my
know,
day or something. Like,
I
whatever.
know. It's nuts, but it totally is like that. I think
Yeah.
because your brain just sees it and goes, oh no, another
Yeah.
task.
That's a problem for tomorrow, me.
Oh, I can only handle breathing and brushing my hair.
Yeah, exactly. And some days are more difficult than others. Some days you have to like manually breathe, just because you're
I know
like paying
exactly.
extra attention. Yeah. Um,
Right.
okay. Well, the other thing that I wanted to ask you about is let's get serious. Okay.
Okay.
What is your favorite dinosaur if you had to pick one?
My favorite dinosaur.
Yeah.
Well, I would say probably the pterodactyl because it
Okay.
flies.
Okay.
I think. Yes,
That's
because, like
hmm,
T-Rex, yeah, sure, you're big, top of the food chain guy or whatever, but
sure.
I'm flying.
Yeah, flying school. Yeah.
Gotta catch me with your little arm.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. That's a good answer. All right. Pterodactyl is a good answer.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I'd probably pick that just because
Okay.
of you get the pterodactyl eye view of everything.
Yeah. Good choice. Powerful, bird soaring. Good imagery.
Yes, and I love that question, by the way. I like being asked odd questions. It's fun.
Thank you. I will I'm gonna try doing it more often, I guess. Because a lot of the times I just sit here silently and I'm like, ask a question
Well,
about music. And then I'm like, I don't care though. Like like there's an element of
no.
like I do care, but there is an element of like when you're interviewing musicians of like, okay, music,
Yeah.
great, but like also, like I want to know
Who's the
you.
person?
Yeah, who is the person?
Yeah.
Like, what do you actually give a
See,
shit about? What's your
I'm
elevator
I'm
conversation?
way into that.
Okay.
I'm way into that. Like, what's your favorite dinosaur? That's what I want to know.
Um, I've been a fan of velociraptors ever since I was a kid. Like pre Jurassic Park, like I was way into dinosaurs.
Pre
Um,
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, just to let people know how
Good to
old
know.
school I am. I was like 5 and I was like into velociraptors. Okay, no big deal. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, probably velociraptors. They're rad.
Yeah.
Good
All
choice.
right.
Um,
Good choice. That is a good choice.
but that does bring me to another important question for the podcast. This is what I always
Yes.
ask last, but what is something that you're enjoying right now? And your answer can be anything, like a book or a movie or your dog or whatever. Just like what's something that when you wake up in the morning right now, you're just like jazzed about.
Well, I know I just put a new album out, but I'm already working on new music, and I'm
Mm,
working on a couple. Actually, I just finished a new music video, and I have another one in the works. So, and I also have some new demos for the next album. That just actually within the last day,
mm,
I came up with a couple of new ideas. So, pretty excited about that, and going to be interesting next chapter of Sine. So, I mean, I hate to be so predictable about what am I excited about, but
yeah. Oh, the
yeah, I
musician's
really am.
excited about making more music. Oh, la di
Yes.
da.
Yeah, I know exactly. Like, what else are you excited about? Well, I don't know. That's all I think about. I'm insane.
No, I
That's,
mean I get it. Like it makes sense because it's a thing that is like fulfilling. It's the thing that like it's obviously a thing you love, given based upon how much effort and love and attention you've given into it.
uh,
So
yeah, I literally don't think of anything else. I think about music and making music and art all the time. I mean,
mm,
even even when I go shopping for clothing, all
mm,
I think about is, can I wear that on stage? Maybe I
yeah,
can wear that on stage.
yeah,
So, I don't know. Like I said, sometimes it's kind of, it feels strange that my brain is just focused on that particular thing all the time. So, I kind of go with it and see where it goes and
sure,
just try to be the most authentic artist that I can be. That's me. I
yeah,
mean, uh, the way I look at music is you're either going to like my music or you don't.
yeah,
I mean, because really what I'm putting out there is essentially just who I am
Hmm.
and what comes out of me at that time. So, it's I don't make music for the trends, or I don't listen to what's popular and then make music like that.
Hmm.
I don't know. That feels unnatural to me. So,
Fair enough. Sure.
um, so,
Okay. Well,
and
is
and it
there?
feels.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just going to interrupt and say, well, is there anything other than the music? Did
Other
you
than the
have like
music
a
that I'm
nice,
excited about.
yeah, like, do you have like a nice coffee in the morning when you get up or,
Mm, well, let's see. I am very much looking forward to going to see Crosses in San Antonio
oh, that's a
in
good answer.
March.
That's an exciting thing. Yeah.
I'm actually very excited to see them.
Mm-hmm.
We saw them at Darker Waves Fest,
Hmm.
and Chino is a good friend of Curse's
Hmm.
because pretty much Curse knows everybody on the planet.
Hmm. I mean, he's
So,
easy to know. Like, I met him at
hey,
Mechanismus in 2022,
yeah,
and he had no idea who I was. And that's fine. I mean, I was a fucking nobody, so it's fine. But like, very like friendly and like approachable and like, how you doing? And like, easy to know. Yeah.
yeah, he truly is, and he's a great person and friend. And
Hmm.
so when we were at Darker Waves and we were back there, because we were there with Zymox and we had seen Chino, and he's like, "Oh, here's this guy," and
Yeah.
hugs and all that stuff. So last thing he said to us was, get with me for San Antonio." And we're like, "Okay,
Hell yeah. I mean, you can't say no.
see you
To like,
there." I
yeah, when you're
know.
invited direct, you
Exactly.
can't say no.
I know. Get with me for San Antonio. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure
Uh,
thing, no doubt about it,
yeah.
So I am excited about that.
Good. That's a thing worth clearing your schedule for.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really love Crosses a lot.
Me too. Well, let me rephrase. That latest record is fire, and that is all I've
So,
listened
so
to.
good.
But I
Oh,
love it.
you,
It's great. I haven't listened to the older stuff yet.
oh, it's good. The,
Okay.
even the Yeah, the older stuff's good too. Like the song that the epilogue is really
Okay.
good. So if you go back to the old
Yeah.
one, I got that song. I mean, it's all so great, but
Okay.
I love Chino's diversity, and
Hmm.
it's funny because the first time I met him, of course, in such great fashion. I told him, I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was like late to the Deftones train," because I just didn't, whenever I would see things from Deftones, it was always kind of like a little more like metal, the whole new metal thing, and I really
Hmm.
wasn't into that
Me
scene.
either. It wasn't my thing
So
either.
yeah, so I kind of like wrote them off or whatever. And
Hmm.
I used to work with Live Nation,
Oh yeah.
and I did design work for them, and so I would always do Deftones tours, and
Hmm.
so I'd see them come through, and I'm just like, I don't know, whatever. But then what happened, and I told Chino this, I was like, what really got me was he has a cover of the song Ghosts by Japan,
Hmm.
the Deftones cover. And I'm a fan of Japan. I love David Sylvian in Japan. They're just like so cool. So that really caught my attention. I'm like, oh, Deftones did a
Hmm.
cover of Ghosts by Japan. I gotta hear this.
Yeah.
And that album, Diamond Eyes, it
Hmm.
it was so good that I was an instant, converted
Yeah.
Deftones fan,
Yeah.
and immediately just started listening to them. Although my neighbors probably didn't want to hear them, but I did.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm the same way. Like, it wasn't really for me. Like, it was a band that I knew of, and I was like, that guy has a great voice, but it's not really my music at the time. Um,
Yeah, but
but
I got into them later, and I really love Deftones.
yeah,
They're so good live.
yeah. I knew who Crosses was, and I knew that it was Chino from Deftones, but I was like, I don't know. It was just one of those things that like had kind of passed me by. I'd known of it, but I'd
Yeah.
never listened to it. And then somebody was like, the new record's great, and then I was like, oh shit. So yeah,
hmm
it is pretty great.
Yeah, I also like that they're kind of like in this. I don't know. It's almost like they're a little bit of a crossover kind of
Yeah.
band, but still rooted in the darkness. Because
Hmm.
Chino definitely was influenced by Depeche Mode, and he
Oh yeah.
loves Cure and all those
Oh
other
yeah,
bands. And
plenty of songs off that
so,
new. Sorry, just real
yes,
quick. Plenty of songs off that new record would fit in perfect at a goth night, like anywhere. Like really
yes,
good stuff.
yes. And just his pairing with Don Lopez.
Hmm.
It's great. I
Agreed.
really enjoy it. And we have general admission floor.
Mm.
So hopefully we can get up front because
Yeah,
although I bet it'll be quite different from a Deftones show, if I can share a quick memory with you that
yeah, yeah.
um, so Deftones came to South by Southwest
Hmm.
one year. I can't remember. I think it was like 2016 or something like that at Stubbs, which is an outdoor venue.
Hmm.
And a friend of mine and I, we were just like, we're gonna go early and get right up front. And I told him, I was like, I want to be so close that Chino screams in my face. I just want it because he gets in the audience and he like interacts.
Yeah.
And so I got my wish.
Wow.
So yes, when we were up front, he kept like teasing, like, okay, I'm gonna come into the audience, and the whole crowd's like, come into the audience. And so he comes over to us, and I literally like bear hug him.
Hmm.
And so there's actually video of this too, of me and my noodle arms are like totally bear hugging Chino while, you know,
Hmm.
he's screaming in our faces. And so it's fabulous. I had the best time ever.
Nice. What a
Yeah,
what a wonderful memory to have. No, that's great.
I
I
know. But it's just silly because now that I see him, I'm like, I
Yeah, that must be a
that
little
was me.
awkward. Yeah, that's fair. It
Yeah.
is weird.
Anyway.
That is a thing I've experienced as well. Is like the admiring somebody as a musician and being like into their music, and then you get to know them, and then it feels a little awkward at times. Of like, oh, I remember when I was like a fanboy or whatever.
Yes.
That was stupid, wasn't it? But
Oh my, I feel that actually, and I don't know, I know I sound like I'm being all name droppy, but
mm,
that happened with David J. from House, Love and Rockets.
yeah.
So I was a huge Love and Rockets fan. Like
Hmm.
when I grew up, I loved Love and Rockets so much. Like I thought Daniel Ash was so cool. I loved his style, and I watched their videos all the time.
Mm,
And then when it got to a point where I actually got to know David J. And long story short, Orlando, Peter Murphy's show.
hmm.
Don't know if you know that whole story about how Peter didn't show up and Kirst and I ended up playing with David J. and the rest of his band
No,
at
I
this Orlando
did not
venue.
know that. No.
Oh, oh my gosh. Okay, so it's highly documented on like
Okay.
YouTube and stuff. So if you search like Sine, David J, Curse Mackey, Orlando, you'll
Hmm.
definitely find it.
Okay.
And there's what happened was it was a makeup show for a show that Peter had canceled on before.
Hmm.
Same crowd, same venue, I believe. And so this was like the second makeup show. So this crowd was ready to see Peter Murphy.
Yeah.
They were not kidding around. And so when he decided that he was too ill and didn't want to show up, I mean, like police were there. I mean, it
Yeah.
was people were getting nutty, and so David J just kind of took it upon himself, and he's because I was the opening band, so Sign was the opening act for Peter that night.
Hmm.
And so David J had seen me perform and thought, okay, I'm just going to rope her in and I'm going to take Curse
Hmm.
and we're going to do this thing. And so we did a short set of like Bauhaus songs, like deconstructed in dub style.
Hmm.
It was a very off the cuff thing that we ended up putting together in like 20 minutes. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah.
It was a very nerve-wracking situation, but there was no way I was going to tell David J no.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so again, if you look it up, you'll see more about it. I think Post Punk covered it, and a few other people did. But ever since then,
Hmm.
I have befriended David J, and I had told him how much of a fan I was.
Yeah.
And at some points, I was like, I probably should stop talking.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh my God, I used to watch your videos, and I made a website, a fan website of you for Love and Rockets. And he's looking at me like, okay. He's
That's
like, can you step away like 2 feet?
that's pretty cute. That's pretty great. I
But but really he's awesome, and
mm,
I love that man so much. He's incredible, and he's embraced me. So
yeah, no, that's good. And it's never name dropping like around here because like that's what all I do. And it's not so much a like, oh, I'm bragging about how cool I am. It's like I can't believe it either. So I have to like share
right.
my enthusiasm of like, can you fucking believe this? Like, yeah, that's
Yes.
how it gets me.
I
Um,
think the same
mm,
thing for
yeah.
sure. I mean, there's so many people that I'm like, really?
Hmm.
Me and that person? Like the Adrian Sherwood remix that I have of my
Yeah.
song Attack. Adrian Sherwood.
Yeah, I saw that on there today and
I
I was
mean,
like, oh shit, Adrian Sherwood.
really?
Yeah.
It's outrageous. And that I've exchanged emails with him. It's crazy. And
Hmm.
I'm like, you worked with all of my heroes. I didn't say that,
Yeah.
but he did call me perfectly moody, which I asked him if I could use that quote, and he said yes.
Excellent. That
So I have that. Perfectly moody.
perfectly moody
Rona
indeed.
Rougeheart. That's right.
All right. Well, I also answered the question myself. So a thing I've been enjoying recently, shit. I'm always like, oh, I know. And then I'm like, okay, what is it? And then my brain is like, we don't remember. Let me think. Oh,
Hmm.
so I have been playing video games with some people from the Void Signal Discord server, and
Mhm.
we've been playing like this Lethal Company game. It's like a like the four of you land on like a planet and you have to go like recover scrap like garbage, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, we found this and we take it back and you have to like make a quota and stuff. But like horror bullshit happens, spiders and monsters and shit. So that's what I've been enjoying a lot is just like in the evenings, like having casual friends that you can just be like, hey, what are you doing? I'm not doing anything either. Let's play a game together. Or, just someone that you can reach out to and just hang out with and do a casual thing that, man, that's important. Like that has been like such a lifesaver for me over the past couple of weeks is just having people in your life and in your orbit close enough that you can just sort of have a casual conversation with at 7 o'clock on a weeknight or whatever, like somebody that you can just reach out to and have
Yeah.
like some human to human time.
Yeah.
It's great. It's been wonderful. And I would definitely encourage others to, seek out those same experiences. It doesn't have to be a video game, but go like play a board game with somebody or like play cards or something. Like,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah. I know. It's like interactions with humans. It's like
Hmm.
unheard of these days. Now everyone's like, I feel like there's
Yeah.
been so much separation that
Hmm.
same with like going to play shows when we actually see other people. It's like, wow, real people
Yeah.
out in
Yeah.
the real world,
Yeah.
because everyone's just kind of hidden away
Hmm.
behind social media and stuff. So, but
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing to have a connection to
Yeah.
like actual people.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, like you said about social media, like I'm guilty of it too, of like, oh, I gotta, my phone made a sound, so let me pull it out and see what it is. Like, I have to,
I know,
I have to,
I
it's
know.
been good for
It's
me to
hard.
like step away from it though and be like, I'm going to put this thing on silent for 24 hours and like just, go be
Yes.
with my own thoughts, keep my own company kind of a thing. It's been like a
Yeah.
good, it's important. Like I feel like people should do it because sometimes like everything on the internet and social media starts to feel like reality, and to a certain
Mhm.
degree, it is and it isn't. So
Yeah, yeah, it is true, and I felt that way about like I used to
mhm,
look at things like the news articles and all this stuff, but then
right,
the media is just so manipulative, and it's like
yeah,
clickbait and all this other stuff. So at one point, it just was very depressing because I felt like
yeah,
everything I looked at was like someone died, someone got killed, is murder, abuse, like all this horrible stuff. And I feel like it's like poisoning our brains to be afraid, And
mhm,
so when I stopped looking at that stuff, just thought, oh, actually much nicer.
mhm,
Like I don't feel as heavy because ultimately some of those news articles and things that get put in front of us ultimately aren't that important.
right, yeah. It's
And
mhm,
I feel like the media is just very focused on trauma and
mhm,
hitting that emotional part of you that will allow you to attach yourself to that outlet or whatever it is. But yeah, I hear you on that. It's the same with social media. It's like when I see people having endless arguments with people online, I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
You could be doing something more enjoyable, and why do you have to, be so persistent, I guess, in some ways. But I mean, I get that some people like debate and all that stuff, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm more talking about the stuff that seems a little more, I don't know, harmful
Sure.
to your well-being.
Yeah.
It's like it's like when people argue against people they will never win against, no matter how wrong that other person is. Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it doesn't matter what you say, that person's going to believe what they believe or feel the way they're going to feel. And you just go, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go and have some fun.
Yeah.
While you sit here and argue.
Yeah. That was a thing that took me a long time to learn. And I don't I will try not to make it sound like this is the thing I know, but it's a thing I'm trying to get better at, of just like, I can't control other people. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. And,
exactly.
You just got to shrug your shoulders and be like, whatever.
Right. And we've all been there. I mean, I've certainly had my times of debating people online and things like that. But, I think especially with the, I guess, questionable nature of life in general, I feel more like I want to do things I enjoy than things that are going to make me feel bad or make me feel anxious.
Yeah.
So, but I've certainly had my challenges online. I mean, people have said weird things to me, and I don't want to argue because I just feel like sometimes it's useless instigation for something to do in some ways, I guess. I mean,
it feels that way sometimes too. Of like, I'm sorry you're bored and you have nothing better to do than this. But
and honestly, I have so many things going on. I do not have time to have discussions online. Honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
too busy making that music.
Yeah. I mean, I got music to make. I got things to promote, and like, I just don't have time to sit around and argue about whatever random thing that is the thing of the day. That we're arguing about, I don't know. But I also think it's just a lot of media driven kind of separation. And I think it's a shame because, really what we should be thinking about is how we can have a little more togetherness and like each other the way we used to, and not be so separated. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to change that, but I just try my best to remain neutral and positive. And while I do sometimes vocalize my, I guess, my stresses in life, I only do that because I know other people are also feeling that same way.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a connection too, of going, everything looks great, but sometimes I don't feel that good.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to let it out. Because, social media also shows us only the best or only the worst, right? Like, there's no middle ground of, like, you don't see the dull, the tedium of what people are dealing with on a day-to-day. But
yeah, well, it's a balance, and especially with people like us who are creatives. I mean, there's a certain aspect of being online that just has to be done, but ultimately, it's like, how do you want to present yourself and how do you want to spend your time? Really what I think about most when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that is it. We are finished. Thank you again so much for coming on and giving me your time. Void Signal intro and outro music courtesy of Processor. Visit processor2.bandcamp.com for more Processor, and visit voidsignal.net to help support the creation of more Void Signal. Thank you.